At least 70 people have been killed and 230 injured in Iraq during just one day in the latest spike in violence. Suicide blasts, roadside bombs and gun battles rocked the country on Monday, continuing weeks of bloodshed, which has claimed nearly 2,000 lives since April. Much of the violence is being blamed on Sunni insurgents after months of protests against the Shiite-led government. RT's Lucy Kafanov investigates the sectarian tension.
May was the bloodiest month seen in Iraq in the past 5 years, a surge in sectarian violence that's raised fears of another civil war. Sunni versus Shia, one country, two sects. Iraq has been through this before, and that divide never really healed. Tensions are growing between the Shiite-led government and minority Sunnis, inflamed by the raging conflict in neighboring Syria. To understand the divisions, we had to travel to an area off limits to foreign journalists, the Anbar province. Following the U.S.-led invasion, this area was the heartland of the Sunni insurgency. Today, it's become the focal point of the anti-government protests. For several months now, every Friday, this scene: prayer on the highway to Baghdad, followed by protests against the Baghdad government.
It's a situation that's reflective of the state of Iraq today. A country that has been torn apart by war, but doesn't seem to be any closer to healing the wounds and the divisions that have been unleashed during that occupation. Here, the Sunni protesters who have gathered behind me want a different kind of system. They want a change. They feel that the government doesn't represent them.
Safa is one of those protesters. He's brought his son to almost every demonstration. They're Fallujah residents, but not by choice. He says he was forced to flee Baghdad for fear of arrest by the military, and that his sect made him a target.
One day, a military brigade surrounded the area where we lived in Baghdad and started making arrests. They were targeting Sunni residents and arrested 2 of my cousins. So I gathered my family and escaped to Fallujah.
The demonstrators complain of discrimination, arbitrary arrests, detention, even torture under the rule of Prime Minister Nouri al-Maliki, charges that the government denies.
The government's systematically driving Sunnis from Baghdad. This isn't a secret migration, it's being done in the open. Sunnis are restricted in everything, from where we live to the kinds of jobs we can have.
But in a Shia neighborhood, a different version of the story. Fearful of retribution for speaking out, this resident prefers to hide his identity. He tells us of the dangers Iraqi Shia face from armed groups.
We also have been displaced by threats from al-Qaeda and other militias. This used to be a mixed area, but people have started exchanging houses between Sunni and Shia families for safety.
Some analysts blame the United States for the divisions.
They built the new system, political system in Iraq on the sectarian basis. Like they made the proportions for the Sunnis, for the Shiite, and for the Kurdish. And this is very wrong.
Those divisions have taken a toll on Iraqi youth, a generation separated by the threat of violence.
It really affects us and causes a lot of problems between me and my friends, especially if they're from a different sect. We can't work together or hang out publicly. In some neighborhoods, I could get killed for being seen with someone from a different religious group.
10 years after the war, Iraq is still struggling to find peace as the ghosts of its sectarian past haunt the future. Lucy Kafanov, RT, Baghdad.